Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Rogue Trader as we continue our Pyromancer playthrough. I have to do this at the top of every video so nobody gets confused or upset with me for less than proper playthrough, and that is what we're doing. I have extreme advantages in everything. I can get any equipment I want at any time. I can give myself as much navigator insight as I want. But that's not why I'm doing these videos, or rather doing this playthrough. So I'm here because Owlcat, for better or for worse, they weren't able to or chose not to hire voice actors for a lot of lines in the game. Whatever reason it is, it's fine. Whatever their reasoning is, that's perfectly fine. But there's walls of text from characters and other things that happen that don't have a voice line to it, which can make it very difficult for people to engage with the game in a way that's meaningful, right? Because I feel voice acting adds a lot to the narrative of the game, how the game plays, how it feels, right? So my job as the streamer here is I am going to be playing through the game as per usual with a lot of advantages, because I've already finished this game like 10 times. But I want to do a run through where I'm doing all the voice acting for lines that don't have voice acting. So let's jump in. I hope you guys enjoy the narrative. I hope you enjoy the performances. Again, chat is open, so if you feel like you want to say something on chat, feel free to do so. Don't hold back. Alright, I see a lot of people, if you want to lurk, that's perfectly fine. But I would also appreciate people to give some feedback, if I'm doing a good job or not, whatever it is. Right, anyway, let's jump in. We have now officially gotten out of the prologue. We are in Act 1, essentially. Or is this Act 2? This is Act 2, isn't it? Yeah, Act 1 was the Rykard system. The prologue was taking over the ship and becoming the Lord Captain. And now technically we're in Act 2. This is when the game world is completely opened up for us to use and abuse. So we got our hands on Heinrichs. We're going to have a chat with him and go through his dialogue tree in its entirety and take it from there. Heinrichs looked at you intently, his head tilted. I know nothing about you, Heinrichs. Heinrichs, could you tell me a little about yourself?
I'm usually the one interested in the pasts of those around me, not the reverse. I come from a night world, Guizorn 3. I belong to a branch of one of the noble houses until my exceptional abilities were discovered. After that, I was sent on a black ship to Holy Terra, where I was trained and I began my service for the glory of the Imperium.
It's really weird. Normally, those psychers who get put on the black ships are sent to be sacrificed to the Emperor, because Biggie needs at least 1,000 psychers a day to survive. So I guess Heinrichs proved himself to be a little bit more competent than that. Oops.
Like many psychers unaware of their curse, I found out when a strong emotional reaction triggered an involuntary response. My great-aunt had a pet grink. One day, it bit me, and I boiled it from inside out. And when my great-aunt slapped me for what I'd done, I boiled her too.
Ooh. I don't know what I'm most surprised by, the absurdity of the story or the fact that you're capable of social emotion.
I don't consider raw emotions to be a necessity in everyday communication. But let me assure you that I am more than capable of anger. Fortunately for others, I learned to focus it. Properly measured rage reveals the full potential of combat psychana, in much the same way as aged cheese reveals the notes of a mature amasec.
You remember your home planet?
I do, but I have no ties to my homeworld now. None except my first name. I left Guizorn 3 when I was still a child. My family disowned me, stripping me of my family name. I was given a new one by those who trained me. Even for a noble, being branded a psyker is a mark of eternal shame. I experienced that firsthand before I was put on the Black Ship.
Always watching, Wazowski. Always watching.
Tell me about the Black Ship.
Picture a vast prison ship filled with frightened, angry psychers who can't control their abilities and who have just lost their homes and their families. Some of them were children and adolescents like I was. Some were monstrous creatures who no longer had the right to be called human, or psychopaths who reveled in their impure powers.
Alright, cool wing.
Once, when one of the miscreants broke free, those in command simply depressurized the bay and got rid of the culprit, along with the prisoners and crew tainted by him. But even after that, I heard the echo of inhuman suffering and terror that filled that part of the ship. It grieves me to recall that episode to this day.
You were sent to the Inquisition straight after training?
No. First, I was accorded the status of a psyker fit for service in the Imperial Guard, where I then spent several years. It was only afterward that I became an agent of the Golden Throne.
Hendrik stops there, clearly not intending to elaborate further. How long have you served the Inquisition?
Since the day of my initiation as an acolyte. So, decades. How many real years it's been, it's hard to say. When I return from a journey through the warp, I often discover that much more or much less time has passed in real space.
You visited many worlds during your service, I'll wager?
Indeed. I have visited many of the places brought to the Emperor's light, and those sullied by the filth of the archenemy. In truth, even after all these years spent visiting the various corners of the Imperium and looking beyond its borders, I still consider the Segmentum Solar to be the greatest of all humanity's bastions. Nothing compares to the majesty of Holy Terra, the might of Mars, the grandeur of the Segment's other worlds.
What duties have you been carrying out for the Inquisitor?
You can't really be expecting me to answer that question, can you?
Jigga returns your look and smiles. But thanks to the expression in his ice-cold eyes, the effect is rather unnerving. For someone who's been in service for decades, you certainly look young.
The first step for biomancers such as myself is to take control of the processes of their own body, including aging. I've endured innumerable hazards in my work. If I allowed every trace of them to remain, I would look completely different today.
Let's change the subject.
Gladly.
You're not the Inquisitor's only acolyte, correct?
Of course not. The Lord Inquisitor's entourage comprises dozens of people. The best of the best. Experts in various fields and disciplines. Some of them I know personally. Others I have never met. To be honest, I'm not even certain that the people I know are still alive. I used to work with other acolytes of the Lord Inquisitor, but in the Coronis Expanse, I have been working alone.
Hendrix's expression becomes pensive, and he seems to look through you to something beyond. Wandering among the stars without family or friends, don't you get lonely?
I had never even considered such a thing before you asked. Perhaps I do. Sometimes.
Yeah, so this is... Yeah, okay. Hendrix opens his mouth to say something, but in the end, he only nods, puzzlement on his face. If you're an interrogator, does that mean you hold a special position in the retinue?
We are not a retinue. We are acolytes. As for your question, I am closer than anyone else to the one I call my personal teacher. The Lord Inquisitor deemed me worthy of undertaking the most important and sensitive tasks requiring the attention of agents of the Golden Throne.
Are there other acolytes of the Coronis Expanse? Interrogator narrows his eyes at you and releases a disappointed sigh. After several seconds of silence, you realize you will not be getting an answer. Something else.
Such as?
What can you do as a psycho?
The Lord Inquisitor was most insistent that I master the discipline of Santic Demonology. I use my faith and my power to crush the enemies of the Imperium. Servants of Chaos tremble at the sound of the Emperor's name, uttered by my lips. I am also a skilled biomancer. I can manipulate bodily processes. Sometimes I resort to those skills in the course of my work, when it is necessary to make the subject of an interrogation more cooperative.
Must take my leave. Alex blithely inclines his head in response. Righty ho ho. Anybody else to talk to? We can probably check on all our members.
Greetings.
Nothing new.
Words cannot describe how boring the bridge is without our stimulating conversations.
Cassia offers you a reserved smile and waves at you in greeting. What does your special sight reveal?
The esteemed Magos Haneman is shattered, like a beautiful stained glass window into a mosaic of colors. His bright, beckoning hues are mixed together in complete disarray. I must confess it perplexes me. Normally, scarlet and steel are all that fills the heart of a servant of the Omnissiah. Behind the cobalt steel of his thoughts, behind the cold, faded gray of his emotions, an ember, the color of amber, glows in Master Van Kalox's soul. So bright and warm, one is tempted to touch it. It is sad that the interrogator seeks to drown it with his own hands in the bottomless blue of duty. Sad indeed, but I can relate. Cubella is bathed in crimson as bright as fresh blood, and its sight is all the more striking in the embrace of impenetrable darkness. And yet, there is no malice in these heavy shadows. They are impartial, morose, uncompromising, and ever consuming what weak flashes of other colors there may appear.
Okay, this is where I'm gonna beg my leave.
I have enjoyed.
Okay. I don't think anybody else has anything much to say, right? I mean, actually, Abelard.
Lord Captain.
Never mind.
Lord Captain.
I don't give a shit about Adira. Cubella, darling.
Domin.
Cubella puts away a dagger she has been using to reopen her freshly closed wounds. Tell me about yourself.
You wish to discuss this again? The past should remain where it belongs.
Cubella purses her lips. Do you truly feel no pain at all?
You can see for yourself.
I will not torture you.
You honor me by taking me at my word.
Thank you for sharing with
It
me.
is not difficult to speak the truth.
I must take my leave.
Maybe
Okay, cool. Alright, we're now in the Farabundus system. Let's do some shenanigans. Lord Captain! Ravor's voice over the Vox sounds weary and rather than annoyed. I'm getting reports of several ships moving towards us. Judging by the fact that they're not responding to our hails, and the telemetry shows a trail of macro batteries, they're not here for the chinwag. Ready to issue the orders to prepare for battle at your command. On my order, all stations get ready for void combat. I should have put people into their posts. Fuck. Yeah, that's my bad. I hate the space combat in this game, so I put it on fucking easy. Space combat is like one of the most... I hate it, essentially. Especially in Act 4, then it becomes absolute pain in the ass. With the Necrons. Hello. Your Lordship, we have contacted Alter Templum Calixus X-17. In accordance with your orders, the Ashwite acquired sent a message to the station about a plight of the implantation throne. Alter Templum responded to our overture very promptly, which in itself is extremely remarkable for cloistered servants of the Armed Messiah. The Adeptus Mechanicus report that they are most aggrieved by the misfortune that has befallen the ancient relic, and they are prepared to dispatch to the flagship a learned man versed in the restoration of archaeotech machines. His name is Eogan Ferbus. He is ready not only to personally assist in the dynasty, but also teach the ship's engineers all the necessary rituals. In return, the Crimson Priest asks that you only visit the station and inform them of the state of the miraculous fusion reactor from Rykard Minoris. Very well. Adjust my plans to include a visit to the tech priest of Alter Templum. I'll relay that you have agreed to visit the station. The vox transmission ends with a click. Oh, minus 165. Oh, because there's lore warp, that's why. Okay. Yep. You're heading? Yep. Shallow jump for sure. Strafe for sure. Yeah, fuck it. Also over there. Lord Captain, with the flagship Juice's blessing with a small escort dead ahead, the requesting direct Vox channel patching you through. Vox channel clicks, and after a brief pause, a dry, low voice hails you. Greetings, Lord Captain. I am honored to speak with the rogue trader of House Von Valencius. May your name be known through the ages. Chartist Captain Austerius Thorfast, bearer of free charter of the merchant fleet. How can I be of service? What is your squadron doing here? We develop supply routes for the Chartists. You see, my ship is a representative of the merchant fleet in this part of the Imperium territory, yet we do not have a fixed charter-defined trade route. Our mission is to establish business contacts in the voidfarers in need of regular ship repairs and those who are intended in specialized goods. Well, I want to take a look at the catalog of components available for purchase. Hmm. Is there a different lance we can find? No? $60 to $70. $45 to $55. It's the same, isn't it? Yeah. Hmm. We're just missing the engine. 19 speed versus 15 speed. Let's pick this up for the sake of it. Just in case we want to mess around and see what we can get up to. We need plating, don't we? Yeah, go on then. We've entered the station's orbit, Lord Captain, awaiting a signal from the Altar Templum Calixtus X-17. For a few seconds, the vox frequency carries only trepidatious silence, which is soon broken by a rattling voice. We offer our thanks to the Omnisire for the intersection of events with a margin of error within confidence interval. In the infinite branches of the universe, this outcome will be marked as favorable. I am Ketria Lima, Logis of the Altar Templum Calixtus X-17, and I appeal to Rogue Trader for sacred knowledge. What is the fate of the miraculous fusion reactor from Rykard Minoris? The reactor remains on Rykard Minoris. Negative deviation from the optimal outcome has been registered. The cumulative completeness of knowledge has been reduced. The Omnisire mourns this loss. Difficult to catch an intonation in Tertius Lima's solemn voice, but the ironic explanation that follows seems genuinely sorrowful. In gratitude for the expansion of our knowledge of Archaeotech, the tech clergy of Altar Templum Calixtus X-17 is prepared to form a Grade 3 binaric rites of the machine spirits of your vessel. Deneta Extremis Ergen Fabris, a manipulus who has received the benediction of the motive force, we send to embark on your ship immediately. Omnisire's blessings. Your Lordship, if I may be so bold as to point out that this learned man possesses a rare combination of skills and is almost certainly proficient in the creation of blessed augments. This is a true boon for the flagship, and you personally. Abra lets out a discontented grumble, all the more peculiar then that the Artemis Mechanicus would be so readily hand over one of their invaluable brethren to us. It is unlikely that such generosity is motivated solely by magnanimity. Registering the launch of a cargo shuttle on course for our ship. Raising his hand, the tech priest snaps his hand closed and the sparks of the motive force vanish, almost as if he caught them in his fist. A corpulent man with a metal abdomen and a bulky carapace, he hovers above the deck like a large crimson beetle. A mature face sits beneath the angular black cap. For a servant of the Artemis Mechanicus, his visage retains a surprising proportion of organic material, and is set in a dense beard of cables and pistons.
A wise man once said that a machine spirit cannot be looked upon. And he was right. For the Omnisire, in his infinite wisdom, has concealed his creation even from the gaze of his most devoted servants. But can the believer come to know the nature of a machine only through an eye of organics or steel? No. For the vapor that brings forth the scent of sacred unguents is the spirit's breath. The rumbling of joints and rods is the beating of its heart. And the motive force is the current of its blood.
His unaugmented eye closes and his mouth relaxes into a serene smile. Crossing his arms over his augmented belly, the tech priest inhales deeply an air of infused with ozone and sacred unguents. The silver skull hovering nearby stares silently at the priest.
You are correct, Nuncius. I risk boring the rogue trader with my protracted ruminations. However, I will not allow the semantic analysis of my utterance to go unanswered. I will log your thesis for further debate. Now it is time to make my obeisance.
Tech priest steadily exhales and opens an eye.
Rogue trader, your halls are filled with sacred metal, and the ship's tech priests must be commended in observing the sacraments of augmentation. That blessed union of flesh and ferrum sanctum. Beholding this charges my galvanic coils with exultation. I, Genitor Extremis Eogun Febris, greet you. And thank you for the opportunity to grace these ancient mechanisms with the gift of operation.
Confirmed. The sacrament of tech relic maintenance has been performed correctly. Protocol for exchange of sacred regalia initiated. Registering the affiliation of this blessed tech unit to the clergy of the Forge World, Stygies 8. Requesting confirmation of the unit's familiarity with the standards of the Catechism of Maintenance and Safety in effect on this vessel.
It is my pleasure to confirm the protocol for the exchange of sacred regalia and greet my brother in ministry. The vows taken in this temple are known to me, and I promise to honor them. I request a meeting with my esteemed colleague to facilitate knowledge exchange and to discuss values.
Who is this wise man who theorized of the nature of the machine spirit? Would be interesting to read his work.
Junior Lex Mechanic Karain, operator of Auxiliary Terminal 289-0 of the lower workshops of Alter Templum Calixus X-17. A pragmatist and a bureaucrat who saw the world solely through the prism of statistics, endless parades of outflows and inflows. He had little interest in anything other than keeping track of valves and vents, but now and then he would drop pearls of wisdom such as these without even noticing it himself. I felt it was my duty to pick them up.
A command display of your abilities. Can you produce energy?
An excellent observation. My technical designation is Manipulus. And here is the galvanic cell, the repository of the motive force. No, that will take too long. Better to give a demonstration. Observe. Questions?
He stabs back into the augmented arm of a nearby technomat. Power shakes lock the Manipulus' chrome claw into his cell. The technomat's vox stutters and rasps, then his implant goes limp. Once certain that you have seen the effect, Irgen sends the power back into the augment and returns it to life. Intriguing. So your galvanic cell not only stores energy, but also redistributes it to wherever you direct it. And you power it seemingly by drawing energy from other sources.
Correct. Entirely correct. How rarely do I meet such astute interlocutors among the laity. I respectfully initiate a request for an audience. I must discover what other gems of knowledge are hiding within your rich mind.
The Manipulus' eyes light up. There's no hint of sarcasm or condescension in his phrase. Aegon is genuinely pleased, like a proud mentor commanding a student on their insight. Genitor extremis. What does that mean?
It is my creed, the incontrovertible fact that has defined my existence for as long as I can recall. And I recall a great deal. I have devoted myself to the mysteries of flesh and metal, to the processes by which one joins with the other, by which they live in union, and how they die. I am intimately familiar with machines such as the one that I restored to life. I will school the members of the priesthood on board in its litanies of maintenance and operation, and reveal the secrets of the command rooms so they may operate it themselves. The sacrament of Ferrum Sanctum will be made available to you and your retinue. That, too, is an incontrovertible fact.
Spherical torso rolls forward again in a deferential bow. You speak to your Cereboskull?
Nuncius is my dearest colleague. His eagerness, inquisitive mind, and ability to view a problem from a variety of angles are invaluable to our research. He is also rather loquacious himself.
Nuncius does not make a sound, directing his visor somewhere past you.
Registering a violation. The tech unit Nuncius is ignoring the request for engagement, recommending that the unit's labor be allocated to repair tasks.
Declined with gratitude and due reverence. The tech unit Nuncius is designated as a personal instrument of the quest for the divine, which confers the privilege of privacy. That includes privacy from intrusion by entities of equal standing.
Status confirmed. Rejection of request acknowledged as valid.
For instant, Crimson engulfs the blue of Pascal's visors. A disgruntled Raz tickles from his box.
A servo skull? As your colleague? Right. Well then, I'll take a data slate for my adjutant.
Abelard shakes his head in bemusement.
I see no colors coming from Nuncius. Is treating servo skulls like living beings some kind of sacred practice among the tech priests?
But surely it does not answer you. How truly peculiar.
Magenta raises an eyebrow.
The blood-spun web also speaks to its departed brothers and sisters. But the answer we receive is the silence granted by the Undying One.
Nuncius, I welcome you aboard my vessel. If the server skull has heard you, it makes no sign of it.
Amazing sincerity, Nuncius. It is gratifying to see that you have not lost your sense of tact over the years.
Again, pensively tightens a bolt on his beard and nods. If only all interlocutors were like Nuncius. Ergen nods with satisfaction. Ergen, you didn't dare to create an abominable intelligence, did you?
Do you think I would dare walk about with an anathema? A profane parody of the human mind? The greatest heresy against the Omnissiah? What an absurd idea. I honor the Crimson Accord of Mars and swear before the all-knowing, all-seeing machine god that Nuncius is no spawn of tech heresy. If I lie, then let me be struck down by the electromagnetic pulse of his wrath, and let the motive force desert my limbs forever and ever. Nuncius is an incredibly sophisticated creation of sacred algorithms interlaced with my own. It is difficult for a layperson to grasp their inner workings, yet not a single one violates the commandments of the Omnissiah.
Thank you for your help, Ergen. Where will you go next?
Your thanks are accepted, but my service is not yet at an end.
Oh.
The clergy of the Alter Templum Calixtus X-17 cloister, in gratitude for the tidings of the sacred Archaeotech, requests that you be attended by Magos Aeogon Febris and the unit Nuncius. I seek your leave to employ our skills and knowledge for the benefit of the Von Valancius dynasty, including but not limited to tending to the machine spirits of the Sector Bionica, and conducting experiments in the name of knowledge. In other words, allow Nuncius and I to remain on the ship and accompany you. We are well versed in augmetics, genetics, alchemy, the anatomy of humans, and abominable xenos alike, and the mysteries of the motive force and of sacred engineering. These fields of knowledge may also be employed to eliminate units whose views are not conducive to productive debate.
And, why do you wish to do this?
It is my sacred duty to stand vigil to ensure the faithful operation of the technology I restored. Beyond that, Alter Templum Calixtus X-17 is an enclosed community. Many wisdoms can be found within its walls, but I seem to have exhausted their supply. Theory lays the foundation for exploration, but only practice can open the gates of knowledge. Nuncius and I have always been practitioners, first and foremost.
Welcome aboard, Ergen.
Skepticism is undeniably one of the instruments of knowledge, dearest colleague. It guards us against many heresies, preventing ego and vanity from clouding reason on the path of service. But as you see, Nuncius, it is not justified in every circumstance. Rogue Trader, Nuncius states that you are a person of rare perspicacity and prudence. I record this as an incontrovertible fact, and thank you for your hospitality.
That's his new catchphrase. That is an incontrovertible fact.
But of course, I did not come empty-handed. I would like to present you with this augment. Now that the machine spirit of the implantation throne is awake, I can bestow its blessing upon you or one of your retinue, should the rogue trader will it.
Okay. We'll look at the augments later. For now, we will carry on. Yes. Rich. Let's have more of a chat with Ergen.
Legos biologus Eurystheus octo rebido declaimed. Every organism naturally born, flesh from flesh, knows fear. But the supreme terror of an organic organism is invariably evoked by the threat of annihilation.
Ergen's organic eye is closed. With fingers steepled, he rests his hands on his stomach. There's an expression of deep peace on his face. Without opening his eye, he says,
I have pondered this a great deal. Do death and terror define our existence from the very beginning? Like a kind of fate, a raised blade since our conception that governs our lives? Rogue Trader, do you fear death?
Nuncius, his countenance, a reminder of inevitable end, stares at you with empty eye sockets. I do not care about dying. I'm too busy living.
For life is so fleeting after all. Why encumber it with more fears and regrets? This is the answer of a person rooted in reality and with a thirst for life. Thank you for indulging my curiosity. Now it is your turn to select the topic of conversation.
I would like to learn more about you.
But can anyone truly know the essence of another person? For a veil of words often shrouds meaning that cannot be discovered in one brief conversation. Then again, all the greatest works on human nature began with scant material. Ask your questions, Rogue Trader.
Where do you hail from?
Stygius 8 is a forge world located on one of the moons of a gas giant in the binary star system of Vulcanus. A magnificent place. Stretching from horizon to horizon, mighty manufactorums crisscross the moon's surface, producing armaments and equipment. For the armies of the Segmentum Solar, the designs and patterns we produce are unequaled in the galaxy. The huge titans of the Legio Honorum tower over cohorts of Skitari, making ready to escort countless expeditions, ravenous for knowledge and lost technology. And beneath them, deep within the moon itself, lies a labyrinth of archives and laboratories, where many sages cultivate knowledge and conduct experiments in the name of understanding the will of the machine god. Nuncius and I spent our adolescence and part of our adulthood there, before we were permitted to leave our cells for the cabins of expedition ships and the tents of field camps. I miss my home, but I do not regret leaving it. For stagnation is the enemy of knowledge.
Why do you wear black robes? Don't all tech priests wear red?
No, not all. The robes of tech priests often vary from world to world. They're imbued with symbolism that reflects the principles of a particular branch of the tech priesthood.
You move like a
Red is the
jaguar!
color of Mars. It is present in the robes of each world as an homage to the Red Planet. White symbolizes the purity of machines and sacred augmetics. One is compelled to carry a certain stigma living on Stygies 8. Certain theological disputes often lead to conflict with our fellow clergy. Black symbolizes our guardedness and otherness, while with red we emphasize the purity of our faith in the Omnissiah and our fellowship with the rest of the cult Mechanicus.
What theological disputes do you have with the other tech priests?
The tech priests of Stygies 8 are most dogged in their acquisition of samples of xenotechnology. Under our doctrine, any methods used to gain an advantage over the enemies of humanity are justified, so long as they do not cross the line into heresy. As you may have guessed, where exactly that line lies has been the subject of debate and discord for centuries.
Give me one quick second, guys. Sorry about that.
This means that we are often compelled to ensure a certain level of secrecy in our work, which only increases suspicions about our world. But for the sake of the Imperium's victory, we are prepared to live with this stigma. That is an incontrovertible fact.
Indeed, that is an incontrovertible fact. Tell me about your research. What is it you are trying to understand?
I have dedicated my life to many questions. The blessings of the fusion of organics and machines, the search for virtue in their separate existence, the possibility of prolonging the functioning of flesh through genetics and alchemy. The machine god is perfect in all his manifestations. This is the truth and an incontrovertible fact. But it seems to me that attempts to become like him exclusively through augmetics, though good in their righteousness, do not fully reflect his design. For the organic body is nothing but a biological machine whose components can be replaced and improved by genetic transmutation. I believe the truth lies somewhere between these two paths, and both lead to my ultimate goal, my magnum opus, to challenge death itself as a phenomenon, bringing humanity closer to the eternity of the Omnissiah.
And what did you do before you arrived on Altar Temple of Calixtus X-17?
I may not look it, but I am a wanderer and a pilgrim. Nuncius and I have led research expeditions with the aim of finding relics and artifacts and advancing the quest for knowledge. I have also endeavored to learn from my colleagues at every opportunity, developing my expertise in genetics, hermetics, and augmetics. We have visited more than one world, voyaged on more than one ship, and got our hands dirty more than once, both literally and figuratively.
What was it like living on Altar Temple of Calixtus X-17?
Many secrets lie within that blessed temple fortress. I spent decades there, but still I am not certain that I discovered all of them. However, the station's clergy are not known for their insularity for nothing. They're quite reluctant to make contact with the laity, or even other tech priests. Nuncius and I were lucky that our skills were in demand, and we were able to ensconce ourselves in that fountain of wisdom. Alas, the doctrine of isolation and the intransigence of several colleagues had brought my research to a standstill, and so I seized the opportunity to join your retinue.
It's the phrase intransigence of colleagues that strikes you. It seemed there was more to his departure than simply a thirst for knowledge. Be honest, with whom did you quarrel?
No, Nuncius. I was not trying to hide anything from the rogue trader. I only reasoned that the squabbles of tech priests would scarcely be of interest to him.
Over his shoulder, Irgen tosses the words.
A disagreement arose with the cloister's arch-chemist, Tekla Paradigm 13. She stubbornly refused to understand the importance of my research and would not authorize access to the sacrarium of alchemical reagents. Since her arguments were invalid and her theoretical basis flawed, I decided to disregard her prohibition and grant myself access. I acted discreetly to ensure that my colleague would not discover my requisitioning of the reagents. That is, until work stopped in one of the Capellae Biologists, where there was a regrettable incident involving a group of servitors I had been experimenting on. Such a fuss over just a few controlled mutations.
Heresy?
If Tekla Paradigm 13 had approached research with the same zeal she applied to making my life on the station more difficult, she could have been useful for something. Unfortunately, that was not the case. I decided to leave the station at the earliest opportunity, so as not to jeopardize my and Nuncius's efforts. That opportunity turned out to be you.
Wait. Pascal also served on Altar Temple of Calixtus X-17 back then. You two weren't acquainted?
The Omnissiah's providence did not bring us together. The temple is quite vast, and it is no surprise that two learned men never once crossed paths. After all, each of us is blessed with our own function, and fulfilling that function is a solitary effort. Really? My dearest colleague states that Magos Haneman and I once passed each other in Service Conduit 91-R. The esteemed Magos chided me for some minor neglect in the presentation of my augments, after which, having each voiced our opinions, we parted ways. It seems I considered this event to be inconsequential, and it has escaped my memory.
My curiosity has been satisfied.
As has mine. Questions can reveal more about the asker than anything they may say about themselves.
Your speech differs from that of other tech priests. It is less mechanistic.
To think that all tech priests speak exclusively like machines is a widespread misconception among the laity. We may strive to draw closer to the machine god, but we remain part of the human race. How exactly a tech priest achieves this oneness is the choice of each individual ordained in the priesthood of Mars, depending largely on personal characteristics, practical considerations, and interpretations of the tenets of the faith. Of course, many attune their language to machine cant or even prefer not to use flesh speak at all. It is then easier for them to make contact with machine spirits. For myself, however, a key aspect of the machine god is his omniscience. I gather wisdom, and that includes from communicating with laypersons. To this end, Standard Low Gothic has so far proved to be the most useful. However, this does not negate the fact that I am able to speak all the binaric dialects of Mars, if circumstances so demand.
I wish to know more about the augments.
I can only encourage such a thirst for knowledge. Ask away.
What is the Adeptus Mechanicus' view on augmentations among the laity?
A difficult question. and thus an interesting one. From the perspective of the cult Mechanicus, augmentation is an unalloyed good. Flesh is weak, and replacing it brings us closer to the Omnissiah. But this good is also a supreme privilege. Every augmetic is a man-made miracle that glorifies the machine god. And not every layperson is worthy of such a blessing. The majority of laypersons who have lost limbs or organs are at best furnished with the most rudimentary prosthetics, if any at all. The exceptions are those who hold key posts in the Imperium, or who cannot perform their duties without replacing their organics with more efficient equivalents. And naturally, there are exceptional individuals, such as rogue traders, who can afford the best augments at the wave of their hand. Or rather, its loss. Just think about it. You are one of untold billions, and you succeeded in becoming a statistical improbability. How could one perceive anything in these metaphysical mathematics but the design of the machine god?
Alright guys, we're going to come back to this conversation. It's going to be a bit of a long one. It again has a lot of stuff to talk about. But I want to go for a cigarette. I shall return shortly. Stick around, or I'll catch you guys later. Be right back.
I have a great many of them, and most possess rather esoteric functions that are difficult to explain to a layperson. The most obvious is the galvanic cell. My hull is quite heavy, so it is supported by a gravitic core, mechadendrites, of course, an alembic with an alchemical synthesizer, auxiliary cogitators, an eye with magnifiers and analyzers, a respiratory... My dearest colleague suggests that my answer is becoming tiresome. If you are curious, I would be pleased to attempt to compose a treatise on my construction. But the more difficult task will be to give it a form comprehensible to a layperson. With a suitable source of motive force to redistribute, I could light up the lumens of an entire deck, rogue trader. However, I do hope that is not the only application you will find for my talents. If my physiognomy offends you, there is no need to hide it behind feigned interest. However, I will answer on the hypothesis that your question is sincere. My face looks as it does because that is how I prefer it. A Vox grill is practical, but there is something about speaking my thoughts aloud via an organic vocal apparatus. Consider it my little extravagance. Besides, appearances are deceiving. My internals have been extensively augmented, and I am fully fluent in lingua technis and binaric. My dearest colleague amply meets all other communication needs.
With his silence, Nuncius makes it clear that the communication need for further discussion has been decisively met. Fascinating. I am curious about Nuncius.
My dearest colleague is incredibly flattered by the attention. Please, ask your questions.
What is he?
He is my dearest colleague and indispensable assistant.
But a Silver Skull is incapable of complex thought. How can he be your colleague?
A superb question. It is quite difficult to explain to a layperson, but I will try. To put it quite crudely, Nuncius helps me to think. He constitutes an exceptionally complex network of algorithms that augment my own. They contain conflicting points of view that seek out flaws in my reasoning, and information that is more useful to me if it is not kept in my own head. So I delegate it to him. He is wholly unique.
Again, be honest with me. Is Nuncius an abominable intelligence?
Are you truly asking me if I have violated one of the Omnissiah's core commandments as blithely as if you were asking to borrow my stylus? No. 1,000 times no. How could such a thing even be wrought from a single servo skull? A wicked mind of that caliber would require a receptacle of significant cogitational potential. I am deeply outraged by this insinuation, and simultaneously flattered by your assessment of my skills.
God, I love Aegon. Nuncius is as sanguine and impassive as ever.
My dearest colleague asks me to convey that he does not share my strong emotions, and humbly apologizes for this outburst. He also swears before the machine god that he was created according to all the canons of sacred engineering, and that he is not a sacrilegious perversion of his design.
How long have you two been together?
We have shared a cell since our novitiate on Styges 8. 138 planetary cycles and 72 days have elapsed since then. It may not be accurate in a temporal sense, but you could say we have been together my whole life.
A warm smile touches Aegon's lips. Nuncius, I wish to speak to you.
I will take it upon myself to interpret his words, but I beg your pardon in advance for falling far short of my dearest colleague in terms of rhetorical elegance.
Can you understand me?
Yes.
I've listened to Nuncius for no less than a minute. Aegon solemnly pronounces. Why are you always silent?
Your presumption is incorrect. Nuncius is really rather chatty and holds strong views on every conceivable topic, which he does not hesitate to express at the first opportunity. Alas, you, as a layperson, are unable to hear his fiery declarations and witty remarks. Nuncius categorizes this fact as regrettable.
And what is your opinion of Ergen?
Yes, Nuncius, I will relay it verbatim. He says that I possess a remarkable mind and excellent practical skills, but my excitability, especially combined with my stubbornness to the point of ossification, would have stunted my development were it not for his thoughtful advice and fair criticism. He also adds that the thought of working with anyone other than me evokes repulsion and outrage in him. The value coefficient of our relationship is extremely high in his catalogue.
Admit it. You're really the clever one in this partnership, aren't you?
Nuncius, what an appalling thing to say. Our partnership is perfectly equal. Keep your mischief-making to yourself, and don't mislead the rogue trader.
How many times does Ergen say this is an incontrovertible fact?
That cannot be right. That often? Yes, Nuncius, I would be obliged if you would assist in monitoring my vocabulary. But watch that superior tone of yours, please.
Thank you for the conversation, Nuncius.
Nuncius states that this conversation has stimulated and enriched him.
That is all I wish to ask.
Nuncius says that he will leave a channel for inquiries about his biography and personal qualities open for you, rogue trader.
You mentioned that you have knowledge of Xenos.
The rank of Genitor grants me the right to study their foul anatomy and behavior for the purposes of identifying their weaknesses. I have personally dissected more than one specimen, and have even preserved specific body parts for further investigation. I research and study their technology to the same end. There is no shame in using our enemies' weapons against them, no matter what some narrow-minded colleagues may say.
Isn't that heresy?
I appreciate your restraint, rogue trader. In my experience, such words directed at me do not constitute a question, but an accusation. I will not attempt to convince you of my righteousness, but I will articulate a few facts that you can use as a basis for your own conclusions.
Go on then.
Fact 1. My interest in Xenos is easily mistaken for a proclivity. It is not. I find them no more appealing than I would a cadaver being vivisected to ascertain what sickness ended its existence. They are objects that I study in order to answer a simple question. How can they be destroyed most effectively? Fact 2. Certain species of Xenos exhibit technological proficiency. Their weapons and artifacts possess destructive and utilitarian properties that could elevate the power of the Imperium. In studying these properties, I find ways to translate them to the technologies bestowed upon us by the Machine God. No wicked deed of innovation is committed. I liken this research to the creation of new production patterns. Fact 3, the last. My research is directed solely toward advancing the quest for knowledge and strengthening the Imperium. Though a certain boldness may be inherent to my work, I do observe the dogmas and follow the righteous algorithms of the Cult Mechanicus. Here ends the presentation on my position.
And what kind of Xenos do you study?
The mythical kind, shall we say. The subject of my research is an ancient, unusually advanced xeno-civilization. Some among the tech clergy call them Niflimics, believing them to be the first creations of the Omnissiah. Others call them Iron Anathemas, considering them to be the spawn of abominable intelligence. But the initiated know them as Necrons, and believe me, The hand of the machine god has never touched these monstrous creatures.
Necron supremacy.
After more than 1 decade of searching, I have amassed a modest collection of objects that belonged to these Necrons. But I have never succeeded in understanding the purpose of most of them. Many believe that Necrons died out long ago, leaving behind only ruins of black rock. But I do not believe so. They exist still, and they are closer than they seem.
You have heard from drunken voidfarers, dread tales, and speculation about metal creatures that do not know death. None of these stories ever sounded plausible, let alone convincing. Why do you believe they are alive?
I have encountered inconsistencies in my research. Ghost colonies with fresh tracks that match the descriptions of these Xenos from various sources. Adeptus Mechanicus expeditions that plunged into obsidian ruins, never to return. Gaps in the knowledge repositories of individual worlds, as if someone had been trying to hide information in isolation. All these are unexplained coincidences. But if I analyze the cumulative frequency of the events and the systems in which they occurred, and compare them to the few things I do know, I can detect certain patterns. The ancient Xenos are exhibiting activity.
This sounds more than a belief. He's encountered these mythical Xenos or has come very close to doing so. Again, you haven't seen Necrons yourself, have you?
An interesting question. I will answer it with another. Would I be able to tell a layperson of such an encounter without breaking my vows to the cult Mechanicus? This question does not require an answer. Just food for thought.
And what objects do you have in your collection?
That's the beauty of it. I don't know. Allow me to specify. It includes objects of mostly regular forms, cubes, spheres, cylinders, made of unknown black stone or metal. Many are covered in glyphs or patterns that cannot be deciphered. Fascinating trinkets that I have spent years studying, but have never progressed beyond flimsy theories that cannot be confirmed experimentally. Perhaps my approach is fundamentally flawed, or the objects are non-functional. Or perhaps they simply do not want anyone to root out their secrets. It's a mystery. A stimulating mystery.
Let's talk about something else, shall we?
I look forward to seeing what new topic of discussion you propose.
Alright, you wish to debate. Let's begin with something simple. What is the meaning of life?
Splendid. It has been a long time since I last had a worthy opponent. Not including my dearest colleague, of course.
Go on.
So, to the topic. I have never understood why some thinkers present this question as something profound, when the answer is utterly trivial. The meaning of life is determined by a person's position in the hierarchy of the Imperium, and where he or she is deployed. But ultimately, what it comes down to is supporting the functioning of the system. The worker produces or processes a resource. The soldier destroys enemies. The governor ensures order and the shipment of tithes. The meaning of my life is to advance the quest for knowledge, thus fulfilling the function granted to me by the Omnissiah. As I said, an utterly unoriginal question.
I disagree. A person chooses what they live for.
Only a rogue trader would make such a claim. Do you really think that your unique position as the Emperor's anointed, which grants you unheard of liberties, translates so easily to the rest of us?
A worker who perfectly fulfills his function may believe that the meaning of his life is to provide for his family. That is for him alone to decide.
Curiously enough, you and I are at odds on the difference between the particular and the general. I considered the meaning of life as a global concept within the framework of society, while you took the individual as your starting point. But how these two concepts marry up is a topic for a separate discussion.
It's because the individuals are what make up the society. So if each individual can choose what they choose to live for, that is the reflection of the society.
I thank you for the interesting discussion, Rogue Trader.
I must take my leave.
I find our conversation stimulating, and I will look forward to your next visit.
Right. Okay. Chit chat's done. On to football we go. Yeah, I want to help a lot to learn. I'll level up again later. The welcome procession is not particularly long, but it does attract attention. Everyone is dressed in their finest apparel, every button gleaming. Standing in front of the others is a woman with clearly expensive implants. She bows with solemn curtsy. Rogue Trader, Footfall welcomes you on behalf of the Liege Lord Vladimir Tokara. Now allow me to express my joy at your arrival. The Liege awaits you at his residence, but you should have other business to conduct on the station. I'll be honored to serve as your guide. Cassia's lip curled slightly. This is so familiar. Behind the amber-colored scattering of words of welcome, far less appealing hues lurk, murky and diluted. The look of someone accustomed to lying and hiding their intentions. What is the situation on Footfall? There are certain problems, your lordship, but the liege can acquaint you with them far better than I. Behind her polite, soft tone, you detect slightest hint of nervousness. It is as if she's reciting a reply she has carefully prepared beforehand. Wow! She has carefully prepared beforehand. Really should talk to Liege about this. She doesn't get a chance to see the rest.
Hey, newcomers! How's this for a warm welcome?
Ah, I love it when they're grouped up together like this. Get wrecked! What the fuck you mean?
A wicked thought.
I am your blade and shield. The other side awaits. The shadows will see it done.
Look no further.
A shivering young servant looks up at you with horror in his eyes. Emperor, protect me! They killed! A gang of puny thugs attacked me. The Emperor's anointed, rogue trader von Valencius. Such a poorly organized attempt on my life can only be seen as a personal affront. I would wager that's not an assassination attempt, but rather a common raid. The half-wits had no idea that they were running to you, Lord Captain. Still, it wouldn't hurt to be on our guard. The great have been known to fall to the pathetic. We can attest to this from our recent experience. Abelard frowns and rubs the bridge of his nose as if fatigued. Your Lordship, those guys were Anvers. They're a gang, they're the worst, I'm telling you. They're scared of no one, not even Liege Tokala. He glances around like he's expecting more bandits to appear. Go and report this to the Liege. Yes, I'm sorry, Your Lordship. I'll just report to the Liege. They killed her. They killed my lady. Oh, this is so terrible. Ooh, arc grenades. That's fun. Ooh, combat shotgun. Let's go.
What lies beyond?
There'll be dead people everywhere.
In this tapestry of a world, I am the rogue thread.
The tall, hunched priest stares at you unblinkingly. A breathing mask conceals his gaunt features, his skin on his hands of a sickly gray hue. His augment shows signs of combat damage and are plated in black chromium, giving him a gentle air of, oh boy, lugubriousness. Initiating identification procedure. This unit is defined as Logis Opticon 22. This is a fully authorized representative structural part of the Cognizance Fleet and the priesthood of the Adeptus Mechanicus. Access has been granted to the following options: information exchange, lengthening of diplomatic links, trade deals, donations. Initiating official greeting procedure for esteemed high-value visitors. Glory, success to House von Valancius. Binaric aria begins to flow from the scratched box attached to the tech priest's chest. Requesting information exchange regarding contractual obligation, Logisticar Theta. Pascal Opticon to exchange glances and a short series of binaric signals before bowing their heads in satisfaction. Opticon 22's head bows noticeably lower than Pascal's. I want to make a trade deal. Interesting. That can be fun for Aegon. Oh, that could be fun. Slick bloody glove. Oh shit, that's pretty good actually. I'll take that. Heavy plasma gun and give that to Pascal. This effect deals things to some attacks. On a hit, attacks with melee weapons deflect galvanic resonance. What is galvanic resonance? All units in a 3-cell radius around the user except themselves are affected by galvanic resonance. Suffer 0. Value is determined by the augment selected. Shock damage with 90% concentration. We'll pick it up. Don't know who I'm going to give it to, but we'll pick it up. Would be fun. Could be fun. Yeah, I think we can give this to... Yeah, fuck it. We'll give this to, what's his name? Abelard.
Alpha Row, the best dock on footfall. It is clean, well equipped, and caters to a higher class of traveler. By local standards, that is.
will see. Oh, yes, indeed. They all will see.
Oh. Okay.
I am forever astonished that Reverend Hieronymus makes do with that shoebox of a chapel in the atrium for his sermons. Footfall has several temples far more befitting his status.
The Drusians are a unique order. They teach people to be content with little, and they follow that principle themselves.
The buzzing crowd is closed on several harried-looking individuals. Some of their faces are smeared with fresh blood. Angry cries and twisted faces leave no doubt. A massacre is about to take place. Just cut their throats already! What were they thinking of that ship dog on foot for? They're all stricken. No, no cutting. If we get the blood on us, we'll be tainted too. Better burn them. Be quiet, you scoundrel! A priest clad in simple black raiments cuts through the crowd like a void ship crossing the sky. Do you dare pass judgment on others? What arrogance to think you have the right! I tend to stare at the sight of the elderly priest. That's Reverend Hieronymus. I'm surprised he decided to intervene in the street quarrel. What's going on here? Several dozen gazes bore into you. And who are you supposed to be? I am Nero, rogue trader of the Von Valencia's dynasty. Raval's expression changes completely and makes a clumsy attempt at a bow, then crumples to his knees. Your lordship, I'm sorry. Sorry for not recognizing you. You see, it's just that it's your first time on footfall, and we didn't know. Terrified, he falls silent. We were just rooting on heresy here. These scrawny ones, they're from a ship that came from the bowels of the Corona's expanse. They've got the plague there and mutants. Now they're spreading that rot everywhere, that taint. They're all... Silence! You must be completely out of your minds. A band of woefully dim-witted reprobates who think themselves bringers of justice. Who are you to pass judgment on anyone? All you ought to be doing is suffering and repenting till the end of your days. And what's so wrong about that, Reverend? We sort of put these heretics to death. We're not heretics. The haggard man is on the verge of tears. We're refugees, I swear to the Golden Throne. We served the Imperium faithfully until they hung us out to dry. We were the protectors that were meant to shield the lands of humanity from nightmares. Traitors. Traitors and heretics, the lot of them. A murmur runs through the crowd. People gawk at you, at the priest, at the wretched group huddling in the center. How tiring. The modesty of colors that fills this crowd is hard on the eyes. So many hues, most of them are acrid yellow streaks of fear. Their red buds swelling, ready to burst and paint all those who are gathered here. Cass looks at the crowd of troublemakers warily and then shudders at the very sight of her. As for the hearts of those who have been forced to defend themselves, they are shrouded in a purplish black grief. But their words are as transparent as ice that lies on top of a glacier. The commoners are always deaf to others' suffering. For such is their nature, interfering in their affairs is hardly worthy of you or me. Those are serious accusations you're spouting. I hope you have proof to back them up. What more proof do I need? Kiavagama used to be a prosperous world. My family transported goods from there for generations, and they came. They butchered, tortured, sacrificed entire blocks to the darkness. We were on our ship up in orbit, and all those messages started coming in. Half the wardens down there joined them right away. And they even reached us in our ship with some blight that made half our crew take their own lives. We barely escaped. We barely made it here. Why? Why did this happen to us? I wonder what that's all about. Is our planet really under attack? Or did some devious opportunist send the Slanderers to undermine the might of the Von Valence dynasty? Who could it be, I wonder? I am the master of Kiavagama, and if these people are my subjects, then I am the only one who can decide what to do with them. I command the onlookers to disperse. As for the rest of you, go to the docks, await further instructions. Hey, you heard what his lordship said? Get to the docks. Rabble Rouser turns to you and bows deeply. Don't you worry none, your lordship. We'll go with these people. We'll watch them and make sure they keep their trap shut about you. The arrogance and self-righteousness of a malefactor. The priest shakes his head disapprovingly, then turns his eyes shift to you. I am Reverend Hieronymus Doloroso, head of the Drusian mission here on Footfall. I thank you for stepping in. Please come see me any other time. We can talk then. Temporary wounds. This is block more. 30, this block's 25. Temporary wounds is quite nice though. I'm sure we'll find better weapons later. The man with a face so drawn it appears to be made of nothing but skin and bones fixes his unblinking bird-like eyes on you. The priest's simple black clothes have next to no adornments, and do not mask his unhealthy gauntness. In a cracked voice he says, "The Emperor protects." The Emperor protects, Reverend. But he protects only those who are pure of heart. Do you think yourself as one of them? Be leery of this conviction of yours. Many who have risen to the pinnacle of faith have fallen from it to embrace the pride of the most degenerate. And you must be the young von Valentius, the name that carries weight. It is a burdensome one, for its reputation suggests that Theodora encumbered it with many transgression. I wonder, will you seek to shed them, or will you carry them onward, picking them up along the way like ripe fruit and savoring their sweet poison? I have heard many exalt the deeds of your intellect, and your wisdom, a gift from the Emperor himself. Fools, do they not know that the seeds of heresy sprout quickest in an enlightened mind? Understanding only erodes the will to act. I put my faith in the Emperor. He gives you a scrutinizing look, then his tone softens. Well then, be twice as diligent, but this sector will seize any chance to test your faith. Looks at Argenta, who is standing nearby, and his voice softens slightly. Greetings, sister. I congratulate you on your return. Was your pilgrimage fruitful? It was, Reverend. Let it be known to you that Theodora von Valentius' ship was attacked by servants of the archenemy, who appalled the hearts of any righteous soul, she says, nearly hissing with fury. And not all of them met a fitting end. Some fled, and more than that. Their blasphemous words clearly pointed to this attack being part of a larger design. Reverend Hieronymus, I wish to join the esteemed Rogue Trader's crew and help protect the von Valentius dynasty from the forces of the archenemy. I am divesting myself of the responsibility of guarding the Footfall Reliquary. Sister Argenta stood by my side during the assault on the ship. I could use her assistance going forward. Hieronymus nods in thought. Follow the call of your soul, sister. The Footfall Reliquary will be preserved even without your contribution, as it was in all the years preceding your arrival. Hieronymus smiled sadly. I know what it is that calls you to follow the Rogue Trader, Sister Argenta. You seek comment, for it helps you to forget how hollow and worthless our lives truly are. It offers the illusion of meaning. Perhaps you will relinquish this illusion one day. Perhaps you will die before the day comes. Regardless, I wish you luck on your path. But before we start on a path towards your destiny, I have a request to make of you and your companion. Many among my flock are from the poorest, most dispossessed people on Footfall. They have brought me troubling news from Footfall shadow quarters in the darkest corners, where the liege's wardens do not venture. Taint has taken root. Footfall is consumed by profanity, but even here, true heresy, serving the archenemy, is a rarity. Cultists now dwell in the shadow quarters, mark their bodies with a sun inscribed in blue and gold, and perform strange rituals in secret. The weak find solace in believing these reports to be rumors, but I know well that evil lurks all around us, and I wish to see retribution. We will verify this rumor, Reverend Hieronymus. With great pleasure, Argenta says, lays a hand on a weapon. Almost wish for the rumors to be true. My heart yearns to battle some heretics. This is where I bid you fair goodbye, sister. Noble Nero, is there more you wish to ask of me? What are you doing on footfall? What am I doing in this den of blasphemers, pagans, and the vilest of souls, you mean to say? Well, footfall is the first and last stop in the Cronus Expanse. It's the point of arrival for those who have just started on their path, and also when all those who are reaching its very end return. Their souls wounded and bleeding. I embrace the former and the latter, so that they may cast an honest eye over their impurity. Furthermore, rumors from across the entire sector amass on footfall. If I hear crewmen whispering about a reclaimed shrine world or expressing desire to carry the Emperor's light into the darkness among the stars, I help my flock in their sacred duty. Devoted trailblazers need assistance, both spiritual and material. Tools, equipment, even garments, simple everyday items. Anything that might help pilgrims on their long journey and during the first days of the harsh frontier life is worth its weight in gold to us. May any help you offer to the effort of gathering such things be blessed. The path of true believers leads into darkness, to search for worlds that have lost his radiance, steeped in depravity. Blessed are the deeds of those who give themselves into the void and the warp in hopes that their actions might bring light into the darker reaches of the expanse and deliver a previously barren world into the Imperium's service. Hieronymus is silent for a few seconds, and all that bitter is the realization that not all brave souls will succeed in their mission. Footfall still awaits news on the wasteland wayfarer, an ancient ark ship headed for the distant stars. A last astropathic message was sent from beyond the Cinerus Maleficum. Oof. And the stars have kept her fate's secret since. I've had another darker duty. The expanse is filled with the tainted creations of unholy heretics. These insidious objects are a danger to the soul. But I know what to do with them. Should you on your travels come upon dangerous corrupted objects, bring them to me, and the reward for your vigilance will be ever more generous. The Drusian's mission is to share with the rogue trader. I would like to take a look at what the followers of St. Drusus have to offer me. Let me see. Right. Interesting. That could be pretty good. Ooh, that could be fun. Heavy flamer, very nice. What is the penance brand? Oh, interesting. That could be pretty good on what's her face? On Kibella. Okay.
Patience? My nerves are frayed.
I don't have Meltacon proficiency? Weird. 8 to 12. We don't have Santic powers yet. How do you have flamer proficiency? Right, melter proficiency. Eey.
One step at a time, amidst the madness.
A tall man with a shaved head is rubbing his hands together nervously. His opulent clothes are nearly bursting at the seams on his muscular body. His expression is forbiddingly grim. Still, he's trying to put on an air of friendliness. Greetings, you must be... Lord von Valancius, your lordship. I heard about your arrival on Footfall, of course. And about Lady Theodora's passing, but I wasn't told you're not on the list. That's not a problem, of course. Please, come on in. Chaplain's about to begin, but we're waiting for one more attendee to arrive. Fidelio. Without Fidelio, it's all been for nothing. Probably the man excuses himself and joins the other attendees. You can say something odd. Before stepping away from you, the man gestures subtly to a nearby servitor, giving it some kind of command. The servitor quickly removes the bottles of Amasec and glasses set out for the attendees from a nearby table. Look around. The gathering you find yourself at seems refined and respectable at first glance. The decoration of the attendees' clothes speak of wealth, and so does the location, which isn't far from the liege's residence. But you notice most of them gathered here are of rather imposing physique. Many of them have scars and military-grade implants. Several of the guests look like they are covering an exit. A few are clearly carrying concealed weapons. I wonder who Fidelio is and why they cannot start proceedings until he or she appears. Judging by the way the fellow with the list was talking about this individual, it's someone very important. But it's not a name I've heard before. Never heard the name before either. I want to see what this is about. Oh, what a terrible, sorrowful day. You must pay our respects to the life and soul of Footfall Society. A loyal servant of the Imperium, a generous benefactor who spared no expense to keep the fire of faith burning, and an example to all future generations. The most noble, unforgettable Master Belardo is lost. The fussy administratum clerk speaks in a strange voice and keeps peeking at a paper with text on it. His speech drags on and on, blending into a monotonous cascade of praises of the late Master Belardo. So let us offer a prayer to the Emperor for the repose of Master Belardo's soul and for the prosperity of his heirs. I shall now pass over to our most reverend chaplain. A formidable-looking man dressed in the attire of the ecclesiarchy missionary glares at the gathered crowd. And here you all are, you vultures. Let's offer a prayer then. But if you think that the Emperor, or this messenger, in other words myself, does not see into your vile souls, you are sorely mistaken. Chap looks at you and gives a slight nod. I wasn't referring to our esteemed guest, but the rest of you I know all too well. So go ahead, pray for Belardo's soul, so the flames will take him, a fitting end for a life like his. May the Emperor keep his soul. With another word, Chaplain makes a sign of the Aquila and pointedly turns away from the attendees. Well, that's fucked up. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately this is going to be a shorter stream because I've had a really busy day of people coming and going from my house. I haven't had a chance to stream properly. And also, it's 3 in the morning. So my performances today have been less than stellar, and I do apologize for that. Normally I try to keep a high energy and a high reading acumen, but today I failed, unfortunately. I didn't do as well as I normally do. That said, thank you guys all so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys all in the next stream. So from me to you guys, until then, peace out.